This interview is being conducted as a rebuttal to APTN and Tanya Stone's false information aired on APTN News Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. We have before us Chief Christine Wahobin, the present and acknowledged hereditary chief of Leanman. For those unfamiliar, Leanman is a band of Assiniboine Indians who had their land illegally ripped away from them in 1905. They have been living, in a sense, as refugees for over 115 years. Hello, Chief Wahobin.
Hello.
What do you think of Mosquito, Grizzly Bear Head, Leanman being the longest reserve name in Canada, as stated by APTN reporter?
I think that the name of the reserve is misleading and leads the outside to think that we are three happily amalgamated bands living as one. This is far from the truth. Leeman has been wanting separation for many years now, but in order for this, we need land to separate to. As a result of the illegal amalgamation of the three tribes, we have been subject to leeches like Ron Maurice and weak and greedy leaders trying repeatedly to cash in or exploit Leeman lands and suffrage over the years. It was Chief Mary Wahoban who stood and stopped all actions bought for Leeman by those who don't have my people's best interests in their deeds. Why should a compensation for the wrongs against Leeman be shared by people who haven't suffered what we have?
APTN's Priscilla Wolf states that Mosquito, Grizzly Bear Head, Leanman elders don't recognize you or your grandmother as hereditary chiefs of Leanman. How do you feel about that statement?
I know that statement to be false because all present-day Leeman honored Mary Wahoban as hereditary chief and I as her successor. Also, the Crown, in the right of Canada, acknowledged and recognized the inherent Aboriginal right of self-determination and government is not extinguishable and is to be exercised at the desire and discretion of Indian tribes and nations. This means that as a band, we accept Mary Wahoban as chief. She is our chief. We don't need Mosquito permission or okay. Also, I have signed affidavit that I am hereditary chief of Leeman presently.
So you don't feel that Mosquito, Grizzly Bear Head, Leanman chiefs represent Leanman?
No, I do not. My strongest proof for this came recently when APTN allowed Tanya Stone to use their platform to deny that Leeman people exist today and that there hasn't been a Leeman band member since 1931.
Why do you think Tanya Stone would make such a ludicrous statement?
I believe she has dollar signs in her eyes, and her source for history is not the elders as she states, but the internet. That makes for a dangerous leader who would state that she represents Leeman and then deny they exist on national TV.
What do you mean when you say that she has dollar signs in her eyes?
I mean that Mosquito and Ron Maurice have engaged the courts with the plight of Leeman without our consent. The lawyer Maurice has suggested compensation in the total of $150 million, and Tanya Stone wants to collect money not meant for them. The judgment is made by Canada in an attempt to reconcile the damages incurred by us Leeman, and I'm sure Canada wants Leeman to be reconciled. The only way to reconciliation is to have our land returned to the Leeman people and money in amount that is fair for Leeman to develop what's needed to become self-governing like we were meant to be from the time we first signed Treaty 4.
So you're not okay with Mosquito, Grizzly Bear Head, Leanman lawyer Ron Maurice suing in the name of Leanman on your people's behalf?
Of course not. We as Leeman have always wanted our land back. We have never wanted to be Mosquito members or relinquish our rights to anyone. As hereditary chief, Mary Wahoban has signed a document on December 13, 1998, which states, I, as Chief Mary Wahoban, 144 of the Assiniboine Nation, the Leeman Indian Reserve Number 1 concluded that we will not consent or relinquish our rights under treaty to be initially consulted for the purpose of seeking our consent to always be first had and obtained in any project by any proponent which impacts upon the environment of the traditional territories of the Assiniboine Nation of the Leeman Indian tribe.
Tell me, what does that mean in your own words?
That they cannot do nothing to Leeman, for Leeman, by Leeman, without our consent.
What proof have you got that the last Leanman band member did not die in 1931 as stated on APTN by Priscilla Wolfe and Tanya Stone?
First of all, I have the words of my grandmother, late hereditary chief Mary Wahoban. She has written history of our people that goes back to before the signing of Treaty 4. Also, the documents at the sale of lands in 1905 lists our band members such as TBO and Wahoban. From them came Joe Wahoban, whose daughter is late Chief Mary Wahoban, and so on to me.
Show us in the picture Joe Wahoban and Mary Wahoban.
This is Grandpa Joe. That's Grandma Mary.
Okay. Give examples of Leanman presence after 1931.
1972, Highway 4 construction was coming through the little piece of Leeman land had left, and the government needed the signature of a Leeman band member to continue through. Joe Wahoban was one to sign, as at the time he was the most senior Leeman around. In 1998, Chief Mary Wahoban corresponded with the government in order to solidify her position. Also, during the 90s, Chief Mary Wahoban and band members were able to put a stop to natural gases being pumped out of Leeman. The capped wells are still back there as proof of Mary Wahoban's power. I became hereditary chief in 2010 and since have been to numerous gatherings trying to further the Leeman agenda. I, as hereditary chief of Leeman, put an end to unauthorized housing of cattle on the little piece of land Leeman had left. It wasn't easy, but I was able to stop it with the help of my band members.
Do you have proof that you were named hereditary chief by the late Chief Mary Wahoban?
Yes, I have signed affidavit dated August 6, 2008, which states that I am next chief after Chief Mary Wahoban, signed by Chief Mary Wahoban and myself, and witnessed by Lillian Blackstar. Also, Leeman band members have signed a form which states that the signee is descendant of Leeman band, late Chief Mary Wahoban is their chief, and I as her successor.
When was the last time a new Leanman member was added to the band list?
We have added new band members as late as 2008 and 2009. These members are now 12 and 10 and a half. I would also like to take this opportunity to say to my Leeman people to register all new babies under Leeman, because we will be reconciled, and until it'll save on the paperwork in the future.
So what you're saying is that new babies have been added as Leanman band members as recent as 2009. Interesting. Can you explain why, as Tanya Stone stated on APTN, your father never referred to you as a hereditary chief of Leanman?
Yes. As Tanya Stone states, my father never referred to me as hereditary chief of Leeman because, sadly, he passed away 6 years prior to my appointment. Just another example of the lies and misdirection of the foolish Tanya Stone on the platform of APTN.
Thank you, Chief Christine Wahoban. Have you any final words?
Finally, I would like to send a boot to APTN for allowing the character assassination of our late hereditary chief, Mary Wahoban, a great woman who endured terrible hardship but was a survivor, a mother, and a strong and firm chief, honest and true to the end. A boot to Tanya Stone for the lies she was freely spitting on national TV. If you think, Tanya, that you have weakened our resolve, you can't be more wrong. You have enraged the Leeman people and solidified us more than ever. To Ron Maurice law firm, I say you have no right to approach Mosquito chiefs and pay and provoke them to sue Canada on behalf of Leeman. No one has a right or permission to act on anything Leeman without our consent or say so. Canada is now making right the best they can the wrongs done to First Nations people, and I am pleased by this. I, as Chief of Leeman, and I, as a First Nations person, I want to reconcile with the government, but we want to deal our own reconciliation. I, as Chief of Leeman, feel that the law firm of Maurice waited for the death of late Chief Mary Wahoban, then approached the Chief of Mosquito Grizzly Bear Leeman and paid to get this case rolling, thinking Leeman won't cause any more disruption to this. Fraudulent endeavors. Leeman Canada reconciliation can only come from Leeman Canada dialogue. I would also ask the Government of Canada to send a team to our area to hear us and negotiate a reconciliation with us. Finally, Chief of Mosquito Grizzly Bear Leeman does not represent Leeman, and neither does Ron Maurice law firm. The law firm is fraudulent in their pursuit of monies in our name. Tanya Stone is a liar when she says there is no Leeman left, and she knows she was lying when she said it on APTN. Thank you.